Hello all my sweet friends, welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. I'm going to show you some of the yummy stuff we've had around here last week. It's been some pretty good eating. I think you're going to hopefully get some inspiration for some yummy things that you might can add in to your menu plan. Alright y'all, let's get started. I'm going to start off with what was our probably favorite of the whole week. Look at this delicious sandwich. I'm going to tell you how easy it was and where the inspiration comes from. Alright, I used this Hillshire Farms roast beef and I highly recommend that for this. I used this Fritos mild cheddar cheese in the can, some of these Kaiser rolls, and I used a little bit of horseradish and barbecue, and then one not pictured ingredient because it was cooking up in the pan, and that is bacon. All right, let me tell you how to put this together. I used a little bit of water here in my pan after the bacon was fried. I took that out, wiped it clean, and I'm just putting in some of the beef base. So basically, essentially, I've made some beef broth, and I'm going to put this roast beef down in there to very gently warm through. Now, like I said, highly recommend this roast beef for it not being deli roast beef, like fresh out of the deli. It was so good. It was thin. It was the right, just right for this type of sandwich to kind of mimic what you would get at a fast food restaurant. Now, if you think I'm copying something from Arby's, you are wrong. If you have heard of Rack's roast beef, then you'll know about this sandwich. It is called a BBC, and that is my husband's absolute hands down favorite. From there, it is a beef bacon cheddar. He grew up with a Rack's roast beef in his town, and I did too. But I don't know if they're around anywhere anymore. Certainly not in our area. So I am copying that tonight, making one of his very favorite sandwiches. We still talk about that Rack's roast beef from time to time, how good it was. All right, now, like I said, you want to gently warm through this meat. You do not want to leave it in long because it'll get tough, and you don't want that. You just kind of want it to warm through and take on some of the flavors from that beef broth. This was a 7-ounce package. I am using these Kaiser rolls, and they're quite a bit bigger, so I just split the meat between the sandwiches. I mean, you don't want a skimpy roast beef sandwich, right? So to that, of course, you see I put on some barbecue on the bottom, and then you're just going to add on your cheddar cheese. I heated this up in the microwave in this little bowl, and I'm going to go in over the cheese with bacon. And again, be generous. If you're making this for your dinner, make it a hearty sandwich. All right, so the bacon's piled on, and then I'm just going to use a little horsey sauce. Now, the BBC, I'm not sure if it came with this, but we always added it to ours because we love the horsey sauce. And this is just horseradish sauce, but you can buy horsey sauce these days at the grocery store, and the Arby's sauce. All right, we're talking about Rack's though, right? Okay, so check that out. Does that not look so good? I have to tell you, it did not disappoint. After I got this all together, I heated everything in the microwave so the buns would get soft, and then I just added cheddar cheese to the side and just made some seasoned French fries. Our store did not have any curly fries that day when I was trying to get them. This was so delicious. I highly recommend you putting this on your meal plan and making it. Good morning, everyone. I am starting off this morning with soup in the crock pot, and you can probably take a big guess what I'm making. And if you guessed broccoli cheddar soup, you would be right. So here's what I have ready to go in my crock pot. About 4 cups-ish of broccoli. I just used a whole package of broccoli, what was in the little clear tray package that I bought at the grocery store. That is the amount I'm using. And then it calls for 1/2 cup of celery, 1/2 cup of onion. Got both of those chopped and ready. Gonna put a little garlic in there. And then it calls for 4 cups of chicken broth with 1/4 cup of cornstarch. So I've already got my cornstarch stirred and mixed up in here. So that's kind of why it has a little bit of a different color than just regular cornstarch. I use the bouillon powder always, so I got that ready, and then it calls for some butter. All this goes in the crock pot, and then after it's cooked for several hours, you add in your cheddar cheese. So let's go ahead and get this part in the crock pot for now. Okay, I like to use a liner in mine. It just makes for a real easy cleanup. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in here, make sure you guys are seeing what I'm doing here. Go in with the celery and the onion. Let's get all this broccoli in there. What's great about a broccoli cheddar soup like this, you can really utilize most all of the broccoli. You can get those stems in there and everything. It works out just fine. They just get all tender and yummy once it's cooking. All right, let's get that kind of spread out. I don't make broccoli cheddar soup a lot, and I really should. It's one of our very favorites. We love to get the one from Panera. It's probably our favorite. Okay, 2 teaspoons of garlic. I've got a tablespoon out here. I'm just gonna kind of not fill it all the way. Throw in the garlic. 2 tablespoons of butter. It's not quite 2. I'm emptying my butter bowl here. Let me get out some fresh butter. We'll add in here. And that was close. We probably just need to add in maybe 1 more tablespoon. And then also at the end, when you add in your cheese, you add in your heavy cream. I didn't mention that. All right, there's the rest of the butter. Now let's pour in our chicken broth. And of course, like I said, the chicken broth already has the cornstarch mixed in. Perfect. It also calls for salt and pepper. And I think this is it, you guys. I'm gonna double check my recipe to make sure I have everything in there right now that needs to be, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then the heavy cream and the cheese goes in prior to time to serve. There we go, looks so fresh and pretty. We're gonna cook this on low. I believe it says low 4 to 6 hours. So I'm gonna get the lid on and we're gonna let this cook today. And this is gonna be a delicious September soup for supper tonight. Here we are several hours later. Take the lid off slowly so we don't steam up. You can see the broccoli mixture down in here. It is very soft and tender, just like it should be. Now it's time to add in the cream and the cheese. I have some evaporated milk that I need to use, and so that's what I'm putting in. So I've got 1 cup of evaporated milk. All right, let's stir that to incorporate it. And then it calls for 4 cups of cheddar cheese. Look at this wonderful, freshly shredded cheese going in. Now we will just pop the lid back on, and this goes for just a little bit longer. This is going to be so good. So good. To go along with our soup, I am using these double cheese bagels that you get at Walmart. Look at the cheesiness of these. I've been buying these for several years now. They are so good. They're really good quality bagel. I am going to make us a sandwich. I'm using this buffalo style chicken breast, and I'm using this spicy jalapeno Philadelphia cream cheese. And honestly, we loved the sandwich maybe better than the soup. The sandwich was so, so good. It just hit the spot. So I just layered on the cream cheese onto the bagel. And that jalapeno cream cheese, it's got a good kick to it, but it's not super, super spicy. Um, we really like it. It gives a really good flavor any which way you have it. So after that was on, we put on the buffalo chicken breast, which was also quite delicious, some fresh tomato, salted and peppered, some lettuce leaves, and that was the sandwich. This was just so, so good. It was honestly restaurant quality, if that even means anything. I mean, at home food is usually better than restaurant, but you know what I mean. This was as good as any sandwich that you would get at a really nice sandwich shop. Look at that. It was so hearty. I could only eat half. So, so good. And here's the soup. All right, to sum up the soup, to compare to Panera, Panera's better. James felt like it needed more cheese. I felt like the cheese was fine. I felt like it needed to be a bit more creamy, which could have been that I used the evaporated milk instead of the heavy cream. I don't know. I guess what I would say is this isn't the best broccoli cheese soup I've ever had, broccoli cheddar, but it was very, very good. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's taste buds are different. I think we just really like the Panera one, and if we were going to compare, this one quite didn't compare, but like I said, it was really good. I will have the recipe linked below, the one that I followed, and I will probably make one again here in another month or so and follow a different recipe and just see what we think between the two. Hey guys, got another night's dinner, getting ready to go on the stovetop here. So I've got this little applewood smoked bacon wrapped pork tenderloin. You can see here I got this 30% off. It was only $5.39 to start with. So this was such a good deal. And what's so funny, my brother had just told me that he had been buying these and how much he enjoyed them. And I looked over when I was at the grocery store and there was one and it was 30% off. I've never bought one of these like this, so first time. I'm gonna get this in the skillet, sear it up and bake it. And then I've got a great big head of cabbage here you can see. And I have got some of this all cut up and getting ready to fry that up as well. And I think I'm gonna make some crescent rolls because I have a little roll of them that needs to be used. And I think that is going to be dinner tonight. So let's get this thing seared up on all sides on the stove. Look at that. Looks so, 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 so good. And the house smells incredible. So I'm going to move this now to my little baking pan. Put this in the oven. Nice, nice, nice. And it doesn't say whether to tint it with foil or not, but I think I'm going to. And get this to bacon. All right, in my drippings off of that bacon wrapped pork tenderloin, I am going to fry up this cabbage. Cabbage wilts down a lot, so this will probably be just about what we need for tonight's dinner with a little bit left over. If I'm estimating right, which I think I am. I'm going to season this up here with the caramelized onion butter, by Kinder's, a little extra garlic powder, and heavy on the black pepper. We like a lot of black pepper and cabbage. And then after I let this saute a little bit, I will add a little bit of white sugar to it. And that will make it absolute deliciousness. I'm going to fry this and then I'll add a little bit of water to continue cooking it. All right, I let this rest for a little bit and I'm going to get it all cut up. I baked this, I believe, about 20 minutes. I took it out, checked the internal temperature, which you want it to be at 145. I didn't want to over bake it, and I think I was at about 148, 149. So the packaging does tell you some bake times and some different options for preparation. You could even do this on the grill. My brother said he adds extra bacon to the outside of his. This was really good. I super enjoyed it. My husband is not the biggest fan of pork tenderloin in general. He doesn't love chicken breast in general either. It's just not his favorites. But this one was really good. The flavor was really, really good. I mean, you could just, the bacon, it was smoky, it was really great. And I finally found some of the Kinder's honey hot or hot honey barbecue that I had been looking for. We put a little bit of that on there. It was just right. So if you see these, I mean, what a delicious pork tenderloin, easy and quick, not too expensive as well. This was a really delicious meal. The cabbage was great. I added a little bit of cottage cheese with mine, and of course the roll. It was really, really good. Good morning, everyone. I am using the Crockpot again today. I just put in my Crockpot liner the last liner that I have. I was stocked up on liners from last year at Aldi. I bought like 6 boxes or so, and it just lasted me till now. So guess what? No more Crockpot meals until I buy some more liners. Just kidding. But maybe not, just kidding. Anyhow, okay, I am making a new dish tonight. I'm so excited about it, and I'm going to use these ingredients here to get started. Now, let me move over to my Crockpot, and I'll finish talking to you as I'm getting this in my Crockpot. But as you can see here, these are ingredients, the dry spices for like a taco seasoning, because I don't typically buy taco seasoning. So I'm going to use that plus the salsa and the onion here. I am putting 2 pounds of ground beef. So let's get that going. And I'm going to add in my spices, and I'll talk to you about what I'm making. And what is so interesting, okay, before I start talking, I'm going to just be putting in enough of these dry spices that I showed you to equal, I think it said 2 teaspoons of taco seasoning. So if you have packaged taco seasoning, 2 teaspoons of it. I don't, so I'm just gonna go in with my dry seasoning. So onion powder, garlic powder, I'm gonna do a little bit more garlic, and chili powder, cumin, or just however you like to season up your taco meat. Now, I will link the recipe that I am following down below, but this meal inspiration came from Instagram. I saw someone making these, but it was just in a story, so there's nothing that I can link because she didn't save it or anything. So basically she was just saying how for football season, one of their favorite things to have was tostadas. And she was showing them, and they looked so, so good. And I was like, tostadas, I have never made tostadas in that way. How she showed them. Hang on, gotta clean up a minute here. How she showed them. And so I was like, okay, I am making that. So this morning when I went back to see if she'd saved it to stories or highlights, she hadn't. So I just looked up one online. The first one I came across said to do the ground beef in the crock pot. And I was just so like, yes, I'm gonna try that. Today's gonna be the day. So if you don't want to do it in the crock pot, just fry it up on the stove. And most other times I would have probably just done that, but today it would help me to do it in the crock pot. So I was like, you know what? I am so curious how this is going to turn out. I'm doing it in the crock pot. So all that's going to be in the crock pot is the ground beef. All the other stuff, you know, toppings, whatnot, has nothing to do with the crock pot. It's just the way that we're going to cook the ground beef today. So I'm so curious about this. Okay, apparently I'm chatting today. So into the crock pot, 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 teaspoons or tablespoons, I can't remember what it said, of taco seasoning, and then it's like a half a cup of salsa that you put in there. So this is the only salsa I have, is what's in the bottom of this jar. I'm gonna actually put a little bit of water in here so I can get out all the rest because I don't have much. And it calls for diced onion. It says, as it cooks, just break it up. So we will see. I mean, how am I gonna know if I don't do it this way at least once to try? So I'm gonna chop up my onion real quick, get that added in, and we're gonna let this cook away here on the counter in our crock pot. Okay, one more thing. I have just a little bit of dried cilantro, like cilantro leaves in my pantry. So I'm gonna use a little bit, or in my spice cabinet rather. So I'm gonna use a little bit of that, and then instead of chopping this with my cutting board or little cutting mat, I'm just gonna cut it over the crock pot and get it in there like this. And I'll talk to y'all for a minute as I'm getting this in here. So hope everybody is doing well. I just really enjoy chatting with you guys down in the comments. It's just been so much fun lately, and getting to know you and seeing familiar names each week. That is just a lot of fun. So yeah, I was talking about seeing this online, so on Instagram, and she was talking about this is a dish that she makes a lot on the weekends for football watching. So are y'all big football people? We are not big football people. My husband does like watching football from time to time, but he's not a huge football guy until maybe as things start narrowing down at the end. We're not college football people very much either, so yeah. But I love the idea of, you know, having something yummy to eat while watching football. My sons really enjoy football. And yeah, so, okay, everything's in. Where's my lid? Oh, my lid's in the dishwasher. Okay, lid on. I guess all that to say, if you have something that you like to make during football season or something along those lines, tell us down below in the comments what some of your favorites are. Tonight is family night, so I'm making a dessert. And what is so funny is I had bought these Chessmen cookies, the spring sort of designs, several months ago. And I tucked them away in my pantry and forgot about them. I have a big basket that I keep in my pantry with all my baking supplies, and I'd stuck them back in there and forgot that they were even there. But I will say, this is probably the best banana pudding I've ever made. And I'm not going to say it was because of the cookies, although they were really yummy because I'm a huge vanilla wafer fan. But I made 2 boxes of pudding, cut back on the milk by 1 cup, and then added a tub of Cool Whip in with the pudding. And I don't normally mix the Cool Whip in with the pudding when I do it the traditional way. And then I put the Cool Whip on the top. I think that was really part of it. The pudding portion of this was just so good. So you put these cookies on the bottom, layer bananas on the top, layer the pudding mixture on top of that, and then the final top layer is the cookies. So, so good. I have to say, I really do. I think it was the best one I've ever made. It was scrumptious. Also to go with dinner, I am making some rice. I'm using the Sazon Goya, the little seasoning packets. That's what they look like. There's several of them that come to this little box. And you guys were so kind to tell me the last time I should have added the seasoning into the water while the rice was cooking instead of afterwards. Makes so much sense, but I just didn't even think of that. So I'm getting that going. It will just cook away. Here's the tostadas that I'm using. I just piled them all onto the pan here. One thing I will say, these cook up quick in the oven, so don't let them get away from you. Mine almost did. Here's a bunch of toppings that I have out for tostadas. Pretty much all the things that you would like on tacos or nachos. I bought this new Kinder's Chipotle Lime Dipping Sauce. Just put out anything I could think of that we might want on our tostadas. And then we did refried beans. I didn't show those, but I had made refried beans on the bottom, meat on the top. And I cannot say enough about how easy this meat was in the crock pot. I will be doing this I will be doing this over and over and over and over and over and over. So easy doing ground beef in the crock pot. I wish I had done it before now, but that's okay. At least now I know. So here I am. Everybody has made theirs, and we ate out on the porch this night because the weather was just so nice. And so I'm in here making up mine and putting all the good stuff on there. These were so good.
Oh my goodness, those are good, Mom.
Well, keep eating.
Okay.
Well, there you heard it. I had the family's stamp of approval. They all loved it. It really was good. It's just kind of a, if there's Taco Tuesday, maybe there should be a Tostada Thursday. That's what this was for us. These were really tasty, and I can totally see how they are fun for a crowd. They work really well in that regard. And then here's leftovers the next day. We kind of did them like a Mexican pizza. We put the filling and the yummy stuff in between, some of it, and some on top, kind of like you get a Mexican pizza at Taco Bell. And that was also really good. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the sweet comments. I am feeling so much better and so glad that I am. Appreciate y'all checking in on me. I will see you next time, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.